Few places leave you more exposed than the bathroom. You undress and ease into a warm tub, letting the water wash over you, completely unguarded. But what if someone were to enter your home? What if the lights flickered out? An earthquake, a storm, a fire, you're stripped bare, submerged and surrounded by slippery tile. Even the ceiling light above you could become a threat, shattering and sparking into the water. Bathrooms are meant to be our safest spaces. We close the door, the mirror fogs up, and the noise of the water drowns everything else out. But in that isolation lies the danger. You're vulnerable, you're unarmed, you're cornered, and if something decides to breach that boundary, you might not notice until it's already too late. Spoiler warning for all the movies mentioned in this video, timestamps will be in the pinned comment. A Nightmare on Elm Street. What's more terrifying than being completely alone? Thinking you're alone and realizing you're not. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, the line between safety and danger blurs completely. Nancy Thompson and her friends are all haunted by the same man in their dreams, a burned figure with a glove of knives instead of fingers. When her friend Tina is violently killed in her sleep, Tina's boyfriend Rod is the main suspect, but he swears he didn't do it.
I'm telling you, I didn't do it!
Nancy is inclined to believe him and starts to suspect something stranger is going on when she wakes from a nightmare in the middle of class with a real fresh burn on her arm. The terror starts bleeding into the real world. Her fear is no longer just psychological, it's physical, it's real. Haunted by increasingly violent dreams, exhausted and unraveling, Nancy finally lets herself relax in a warm bath. Her guard is down completely, it's quiet, she's drifting into sleep, finally getting a moment of peace. And then, from beneath the water, a gloved hand rises between her legs, lurking in the water in a famously invasive and unsettling scene that definitely made more than a few viewers afraid to take a bath for a while. The tub becomes impossibly deep, swallowing her whole as Freddy drags her into his nightmare realm. It's a violation on every level. A moment of rest becomes an ambush. The bathroom, arguably the most private, vulnerable place in the home, is transformed into a weapon. It becomes a portal to something violent and unstoppable. After that moment, Nancy becomes too scared to sleep at all, and that's the horror. There's no safe space left. Not in your bed, not at school, not even in the bath. The invasion isn't just physical, it's psychological. You're never alone, not even in your own mind. Freddy Krueger can get to you anywhere, even in your most intimate moments when you think you're safe, especially then. Jon the Grudge. If Freddy Krueger haunts your dreams, the Grudge haunts something even more terrifying, your everyday reality. You don't need to fall asleep, you just need to walk through the wrong door. Across every version, whether it's the original Jon, the American remake in 2004, or the 2020 reboot, the same core idea remains. Once you've entered the Psyche house, you're marked. The Grudge Curse, the Jon, is a lingering rage left behind by Kayako Saiki and her son's brutal murder, and it follows you wherever you go. There's no escape. No matter who you are or where you hide, once the curse is attached to you, it stays. It doesn't matter if you leave the house, it doesn't even matter if you leave the country. The curse travels with you, quiet, patient, inevitable. And in every version there's that one unforgettable moment. A character is in the shower washing their hair, they're finally alone, relaxed, unaware, until they feel something strange. Fingers, a hand, not their own, tangled in their hair. They jump, spin around, but there's no one there. Just the pounding of water and that awful crawling sense that something is in there with them. What makes it so terrifying is that there's no escaping it, not even for a moment. You can't shut the door, turn on the water, and expect to be left alone. The curse follows you everywhere, even into the shower. Ghoulies Too. But not all bathroom horror is slow, subtle, or supernatural in the ghostly sense. Sometimes it's just tiny toilet demons biting people in the ass.
What the hell's in there?
The first Ghoulies film sets the tone for this bizarre franchise. Jonathan, a college student played by an actual 35-year-old, taps into his father's satanic past and summons a bunch of slimy, demonic gremlins called Ghoulies by performing dark rituals in his inherited mansion. They're small, they're hideous, and they really love murder, but in Ghoulies Too, the little monsters hitch a ride to a travelling carnival and set up shop in a rundown horror attraction called Satan's Den. And in a place full of rubber masks, smoke machines, and cheap jump scares, they fit right in. At first the crowd loves it, business booms, everyone assumes the monster attacks are part of the act, but when people actually start getting hurt and dying, it's clear the Ghoulies aren't just showbiz anymore. Which brings us to this scene. Philip Hardin, an obnoxious, corporate, profit-obsessed buzzkill who's there to audit the carnival, is in the bathroom having a breakdown. He's stressed, people are dying, and customers are threatening lawsuits. What he doesn't realise is that one of the Ghoulies has crawled into the toilet behind him. It hides, it waits, and when Philip finally sits down to do his business, let's just say the film makes good on its tagline, they'll get you in the end. We hear crunching, tearing, screaming. It's gross, it's hilarious, it's humiliating, and it's probably one of the most memorably ridiculous toilet deaths in horror history. But underneath the absurdity is a very real fear, the idea that something can sneak up on you in your most private, vulnerable moments. The toilet is supposed to be safe, a place to do your private business. Ghoulies Too strips away even that last shred of dignity and replaces it with the terrifying possibility that something is waiting just beneath the surface. And it has teeth. It's the kind of fear that sticks with you, the kind that makes you check the toilet before sitting down, and if you're into that very specific brand of paranoia, I've got another video coming soon that dives into another campy horror movie involving something hiding in the toilet, so keep an eye out. What lies beneath? So far we've looked at bathroom horror through the lens of the supernatural, sleep demons, curses, and even tiny toilet goblins. But sometimes the scariest threats don't come from otherworldly forces, sometimes it's the person sleeping right next to you. In What Lies Beneath, we follow Claire Spencer, a woman recovering from a recent car accident that's left her with foggy memories. But lately, Claire has been hearing whispers in her home. Doors open by themselves, photo frames fall, and she even sees the face of a girl reflected in the bathtub water. Something is clearly wrong, and it feels like something or someone is trying to contact her. As she starts unravelling the mystery, the pieces begin to fall into place. Claire discovers that her husband Norman had an affair with one of his students named Madison. He admits to it and claims Madison took her own life after the affair ended. Claire is convinced Madison's spirit is back with a vengeance. But then Claire finds Madison's necklace hidden in a locked box, and suddenly it isn't just a ghost story anymore. Claire starts to suspect her husband Norman might be hiding something much worse, and she's right. The film takes a chilling turn when Norman snaps. His warm, charming exterior vanishes in an instant. He attacks and drugs Claire, rendering her paralysed, and calmly confesses to killing Madison when she threatened to expose the affair. Now he says Claire has left him no choice, he'll have to kill her too, and he'll make it look like Claire drowned herself. Norman places Claire's limp body in the bathtub and begins filling it with water. She's conscious but can't move. The water slowly rises, inch by inch. Her husband, someone she trusted completely, watches coldly, detached as she slowly sinks beneath the surface. It's slow, it's quiet, and it's terrifying. She desperately tries to stop it, nudging the drain with her foot, trying to pull the plug, but the chain snaps. The water keeps rising, past her lips, past her nose. Every agonizing second crawls by as she struggles to move, but she eventually manages to pull the plug and the water drains just in time. Gasping for air, Claire slowly crawls out of the tub, still weakened from the sedative. What makes this scene so terrifying isn't a ghost or a demon, it's that the danger comes from someone Claire trusted completely. There's no supernatural force to blame, just a man incapacitating and drowning his wife in their bathtub. Psycho. Now, if being drugged by your husband and left to drown in your own tub wasn't bad enough, try getting stabbed to death mid-shampoo, because Hitchcock made sure that no one ever looked at a shower the same way again. In Psycho, Marion Crane is a real estate secretary on the run after impulsively stealing money from her employer. Caught in a storm while driving, she pulls into the isolated and eerie Bates Motel to spend the night. There she meets Norman Bates, a quiet, nervous, soft-spoken man. He runs the hotel and lives in the old house behind it with his elderly mother. Marion overhears them arguing. Norman wants to have dinner with Marion, but his mother is furious, disgusted by the idea. After, Norman explains to Marion that he believes everyone lives in a kind of private trap they long to escape, and also that his mother is not mentally well and that he hates what she's become.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
When Marion gently suggests institutionalizing his mother, Norman quickly grows defensive, claiming that she's harmless.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Later on, as Marion showers, she doesn't hear the bathroom door open over the sound of the water. A shadowy figure enters silently, and suddenly the curtain is pulled back, and standing there is the silhouette of what we assume to be an old woman, Norman's mother, holding a kitchen knife. Before Marion can react, the blade comes down again and again. Trapped and exposed, she can't escape. Her body slides down, lifeless, as the water continues to run. Blood spirals down the drain and her glassy eyes stare into nothing. It's one of the most iconic horror scenes of all time, not because it's especially graphic, but because it transforms a mundane, everyday act into something horrifying. It's the ultimate violation, being attacked in your most vulnerable moment where you least expect it, in the shower, alone, naked and defenseless. Halloween. And finally, we have a scene featuring one of the most infamous horror villains of all time, a killer who just won't stay dead and who will stop at nothing to finish what he started, even if you're on the toilet. 40 years after the original Haddonfield murders, Michael Myers has become something of a myth, part man, part urban legend. But to true crime podcasters Aaron and Dana, he's still a man with a story to tell. They travel to the psychiatric hospital where he's being held, hoping to get a word out of him, something that might help them understand the man behind the mask. But Michael doesn't speak, not even when Aaron mentions Laurie Strode, the woman he once tried to kill, and pulls out his old mask. Michael simply stands there, silent and still.
Say something!
Soon after, Michael is loaded onto a transport bus for transfer to a maximum security facility. But the bus never reaches its destination. It crashes in the night. Guards are slaughtered and the other inmates are scattered across the road. And just like that, Michael Myers is gone. The next morning, Aaron and Dana stop at a gas station. Dana steps into the bathroom, unaware that the nightmare they were chasing has caught up with them. She sits in the stall, unnerved by the heavy footsteps pacing back and forth outside. Then, suddenly, Michael drops a handful of bloodied human teeth onto the bathroom floor. Dana scrambles and tries to crawl beneath the stalls, but Michael grabs her by the legs and drags her back. Aaron rushes in and tries to fight him, but it's no use. The absolute beast of a man that is Michael Myers slams Aaron's head into the tile again and again, then uses his head to break into the locked store where Dana is hiding. He lifts her by the neck and strangles her until her body goes limp. And then Michael walks out, calm, collected, and retrieves his mask from the podcaster's car, ready to resume his role and rain terror on the people of Haddonfield once again. Sitting on the toilet in a public restroom is probably one of the last places you want to be anyway. It's hard to think of a more helpless position than being trapped in a stall, pants down, while a killer tries to break the door off the hinges. A bathroom should be the one place where you're unbothered, unseen, and alone, but horror knows that's exactly where you're most defenseless. Whether it's a ghost in the tub, a hand in your hair, or a killer outside the store, you never really know who or what might be sharing that space with you. And that's it. What are some of your favourite bathroom scenes in horror? Please let me know in the comments, and bye bye.